It's Thomas O'Regan, and I'm a professional property investor here in Australia. Me and my wife have 20x our equity position in our property portfolios in the last 4 years. Now, if you know this one thing about property investing, you will always win. If you understand market cycles, you will always win when it comes to investing. Whether you are buying the best property or the shittest property, it doesn't matter when it comes to market cycles. Now, if you are investing in a property market where the market is at the start of a market cycle, it is just about to take off and boom, that property, as I said, doesn't matter how shit it is, if you purchase it at a good price at that time in the market, when the prices are cheap, the prices are down, the market's suppressed, if you get that property at that price, at that good price, when the market gets hot, every property market goes through cycles, and when that happens, if you understand when that market gets hot, you will be able to sell the property. It doesn't matter in a hot market whether the property is a shit property or a good property, you'll be able to sell it. Now, most people obviously look to buy properties that are ideal investments in terms of they can always sell them, or they're the best property on the street, or whatever it be. They've got some sort of thing about them. It's just a wow factor. But it doesn't necessarily, if you understand market cycles, it doesn't necessarily matter if the property is the best property or it's the shittest property. Because if you understand market cycles, you'll understand that this property, say for example, if you take a market like Victoria, or you take a market like Perth, or you take a market like Sydney, or you take a market like South Australia, and you go into that market and you can see, whether it's on a small scale or a large scale, that market's about to go through a boom. All the properties in that area are going to go through a boom. It's not just going to be the best properties. It's not like, it's going to be all of them. Okay, so whether it's the shittest property or the best property, they're all going to go up in value by a lot. Okay, so that's why when it comes to purchasing property, I always make sure I'm purchasing at the start of the market cycle, and then if I'm going to sell it, and I know this, you have to sell it, especially if it's a shit property, you have to sell it when the market is up. You have to sell it at the hot point of the market. It's very easy to sell properties in a hot market, again, whether it's shit or not, okay? Where obviously what I'm describing here is a little bit more high risk than just buying a property and holding it forever. The risk is if you wait too long and then it goes back to a seller's market, it goes back to a buyer's market, the market goes soft again, it'll be very hard to sell that property, okay? But where you can really cushion yourself, where you can really protect yourself there, is you need to buy well. So when you purchase property, whether you're purchasing a good property or a bad property, typically, if it's a bad property, you can negotiate a bigger discount, okay? So you have to understand the differences in prices from different types of properties between their market value and what price you are paying. You might be paying over market value. I will never do this. Never pay over market value, okay? You're eating into your profits. Especially if I'm buying a shit property, I want to buy it far below market value. And then the fact that I've bought it below market value gives it a huge amount of extra growth that I can get. It's huge amount of return I can get from the money that I'm initially putting into that investment. Now, hopefully that has given you some insight in how to invest and build a property portfolio quickly. It's not a problem, but I typically avoid properties that are in hot markets, and I avoid properties that are, I guess, highly sought after, because you always need to pay a super competitive price for them, almost to the point where it's getting over market. And yes, you're going to get obviously a lot more growth over a longer time horizon, and it is going to be a safer asset in terms of liquidation at any point. But the problem with that is you are going to have to, most of the time, supplement that income or supplement that property with your own income. Now, when it comes to investing, I much just prefer to buy properties that are self-sustaining. Okay, so me growing a large property portfolio doesn't mean more stress. More stress when you're building a large property portfolio means the larger for me and most people is financial stress, and that what that is as you grow your property portfolio is costing you more time. Sorry, it's costing you more money. That's a stressful thing for a lot of people. I would prefer not to have that stress. I'd prefer to buy properties under market value and then just have them be self-sustaining and invest in properties that are at the start of the market cycle. Whether they're shit properties or not, I'm getting explosive growth. Anyway, guys, see you next time. Bye.